Today we're going to be practicing the vesico-urethral anastomosis on the Davinci robotic simulator. I want you to use the tubes exercise under the needle control heading. First, you're going to hold your hand in a neutral position. Imagine if you were holding a needle in a needle driver, shown here. In this console, it's going to be like this, with the thumb up and the middle finger down. And inside the simulator, it will look like this. Essentially a right four-handed throw. Now the proximal tube is going to represent the bladder, the distal tube will be the urethra. Here you can see a diagram demonstrating where and what throws you should be performing on the bladder side. You're going to begin your stitch at the 6 o'clock position on the bladder neck from an in to out direction. So here I grab the needle. Next I'm going to grab the anterior surface of the bladder, exposing the posterior side, and rolling the needle through at the 6 o'clock position from an in to out direction. Now, the urethral stitches are much more complex. Here's a diagram. We will be going through these one at a time. Your first throw is going to be a inverse backhand throw on the right hand, seen here. Here is how this will look if you're imagining holding it on a needle driver. And here it is. The needle is thrown from an in to out position at the 6 o'clock urethra. My hand is now rolled 180 degrees. In order to complete the throw, reach down and grab it with the left hand and complete the roll with the left hand, as shown. Now again, here's the bladder. We're going to go from a right four-handed throw. Again, that looks like this. And we're going to move along the posterior aspect. This throw will be done at approximately 5 o'clock. In real life, you want to take shorter travel distances. Here again is the urethra. Now we're going to do a right four-handed throw at the 5 o'clock urethral position. Note on the hand how much I have to roll back in order to make this throw appropriately. Once the needle is pressed in, I can roll my wrist, reach around, and grab it from the opposite side. Now we're going to move up the urethral side. This will be a left backhand throw. Imagine if you were throwing left-handed, or if you were a left-handed person, this would be a backhand throw. That will look like this inside the simulator. Here we're going to go ahead and throw another one through the bladder. Again, grab the edge of the bladder, show yourself the inner edge, roll it through with a right four-handed throw. Now we're going to load this again as a left backhanded throw. Now watch my hands. You see how extreme my wrist motion is in order to make this throw appropriately. You really have to rotate your wrist to make the throw work. Grab the needle with the right hand after it's been pushed through. This will allow you to be prepared to make your next bladder throw. Here, going through the bladder yet again. And we'll do one more of these left backhanded throws through the right upper quadrant of the urethra. And that's essentially all the stitches in this position. At the 12 o'clock position, you'll see we're going to go ahead and throw with the right hand again. Again on the bladder, roll through with the right hand. Now, this is going to be a right backhanded throw through the 12 o'clock urethral position. Here's how this would look if you had a needle driver, and here's how it would look if you were in the simulator. Just a basic right backhanded throw through the 12 o'clock position makes it very easy to roll through appropriately at this location. Now I like to perform what's called a canal stitch at the 12 o'clock bladder neck. Essentially we're reversing the direction and going from an in to out position. This too is thrown with a right four-handed throw. During the real case, what this does is pull the edge of the bladder over the tip of the urethra. Now we're going to work on the left side of the bladder with a left forehand throw. This is how this would look if you're holding it with a needle driver. And here's how it looks in the simulator. Similarly, you're going to grab the edge of the bladder now with the right hand, showing yourself that posterior edge of the bladder and rolling through at the 6 o'clock position from an out to in forehand. Now, this is again a left forehand throw. In the simulator, this looks like this. Again, pay close attention to the way the wrist is rotated in a clockwise fashion in order to make the throw appropriately. Once the stitch is in position, grab it on the outside edge and you should be ready to go with the next bladder stitch. Shown here. Again, on the left side of the bladder, it's all left forehand. On the right side of the bladder, it's all right forehand. Now the next stitch on the bladder is going to be a right backhand throw. It's also important to note the hand motions in the upper corner to see how extreme these hand motions have to be. On the right hand side, we're going to rotate the wrists clockwise in order to make the throw appropriately. Grab it with the left hand. If you grab it nicely, then you'll be ready to make that next bladder throw efficiently. Here again, we'll do a backhand right-handed throw, loaded in a backhanded fashion at the 12 o'clock position. This allows overlap of the stitches. And then again, right forehanded throw in order to perform the canal stitch. I found this exercise useful in performing the vesicourethral anastomosis during a real robotic prostatectomy, and it is the best way to use the simulator with the tools that it has with simple modifications. Thank you very much.